Just want to say a quick thank you to Anthony Griffin for becoming a member of the Kinetic Rugby League channel. If you want to become a member, just click the join button below this video and join the fantastic group of people that help support the work that I do. But with that being said, let's get on with the video. So the first thing to mention is that I promise you soon I will get my hair cut and I will get a beard trim so you don't have to look at this for too much longer. Second thing is, I'll have to recap of last round's predictions up on the screen for you guys to check out. 5 out of 6 last week. There was an upset. Leeds versus Hull Kingston Rovers. Fair play Leeds. Doing fairly well overall on the season. But as always, I want to know what you guys have predicted for this week. So let me know in the comment section down below. Let's get on with the first game of this week. Kicking things off with Hull FC taking on Wakefield Trinity. Both sides have only won 2 in their last 5 games. Hull have lost 2 in a row though, but Wakefield won last time out against Catalans Dragons. Hull have looked less effective in possession in the absence of Price and Asiata in recent weeks. Normally, in a situation like that, when you're missing plays in the spine, you'll go back to basics, kicking long, chasing well, and trying to take the fight through the middle. But now they're looking less effective through the middle. They're not looking as good as they did to start the season. And Saints did a great job of shutting them down, but I'll get more into them when I talk about St Helens. Wakefield have been quality in recent weeks. Since maybe months ago at this point, through the middle, I think the forwards have done a fantastic job spreading the ball out the back to the edges. They've also been brilliant in recent weeks as well. Carrying well, creating line breaks, defending well too. Let's keep that in mind. Even having to change the spine again from last week. I think it was Rourke at fullback, Jowett at 6, Leigh at 7. They just know how to adapt. I basically went into a bit more praise in the power rankings video, so feel free to check that one out. But I'm not too worried about Wakefield if they have to make more changes this week, or even if it's exactly the same as last week. Wakefield can just deal with any changes, and I think Hull, whilst they're having to learn, I think there'll be a bit of a step off this week. Wakefield can compete through the middle. I think the kicking game from Leo's been improving. Aidan Caesar's kicking game will be important. I think his run game has been decent as well. Cade Cust could be a threat this week as well for Hull FC's run game. But I think the matchup just works slightly better for Wakefield. Plus, Hull have also won 0 games at home this year, still. And their attack is looking a little bit stale at the moment, but things are looking up for Wakefield. So for a prediction in this game, I'm going to go with Hull FC 12, Wakefield Trinity 28. Next up, we have the Wigan Warriors taking on the Huddersfield Giants. Starting with form, Wigan have won 3 in their last 5, Huddersfield have won 2 in their last 5. Wigan haven't really been their usual selves in the past few weeks. The Giants have been improving in recent weeks as well. They had that drop-off last round against Catalans 2 weeks ago. But also, about 4 weeks back at this point, they also went head-to-head. Huddersfield competed extremely well. Wigan were in for a bit of a shock. Huddersfield probably could and should have won that game if not for a quality clutch try at the end from Wigan with 2 seconds left on the clock. I think Huddersfield actually won the battle up front last time out. There were more offloads, it felt. I don't know all the stats, but from what I recall from the game, it felt like they had more offloads, felt like there was more post-contact meters, quicker play the balls. It felt like they were more dominant up front. And they do have a good forward pack. So do Wigan, of course, but I think the way that Huddersfield have been performing since the start of the year, and I think there's been more notice of the forward pack in recent weeks, I think there's a good contest up front again, and Huddersfield could potentially win up front this time around again. Wigan still have quality individuals that can create chances in any moment, but as a unit, they're just not really performing. So they are vulnerable. As much as that's the case, it is tough to go against Wigan in a game like this, even though they have been sort of dropping in quality over the past few weeks. Now, because I think the Giants will compete through the middle, plus their spine is getting more and more comfortable, Flanagan at 1, Lolohea looking a bit more free at number 6. Frawley starting to just slowly improve and get more comfortable in this side. Wolford back at number 9 as well. And the pack, as I say, doing a decent job. I think Huddersfield can go to Wigan and actually cause an upset. There is a great chance, by the way, just to be clear, there is a great chance that Wigan just completely demolish them. I think that's completely possible. For me, it's either a narrow win for Huddersfield or Wigan batter them. I don't actually think there's an in-between. Watch there be an in-between now. It's going to be fantastic. But without Bevan French, Jack Farman is doing a good job, in moments here and there. And as I say, individuals for Wigan can do some good stuff. But as a unit, they're kind of getting found out right now. And I think I said the same thing in the last predictions video for Leigh in favour for the game going against Wigan. They can smell a bit of blood in the water. I think Huddersfield can too. And especially after what they were able to do last time against Wigan, I think they can compete this week. And I'll just go out there and go for an upset. So I'm going to go with Wigan Warriors 16, Huddersfield Giants 18. Next up, we have the Leeds Rhinos taking on St Helens. First of all, both have won 4 in their last 5 games. Saints also beat Leeds a few weeks back. If Saints play how they did last time against Leeds and how they did last week against Hull FC, or at the weekend against Hull FC, especially how they did defensively, they can really slow down Leeds' progress through the middle, because Leeds up front are brilliant. Their forward pack has been exceptional this year, and even more so over the past few months. To start the season, they were solid, but over the past few months, they've been incredible. And at the weekend against Hull, Kingston, Rovers, they were great as well. If Saints can be exactly how they were against Hull FC and how they were last time against Leeds, they can slow down their progress and really take the likes of Lockie Miller, Brodie Croft, and Jake Connor out the game. Because if you can slow down their forwards, get yourself set defensively, they don't really have a half-back to rely on. Even Jake Connor spoke about this after the game against Hull Kingston Rovers on Sky Sports. Their style doesn't really need a half-back, but when the game is kind of slow, you don't really get those quick play the balls. You need a number 7 that can kind of command the kicking game, which I think Jake Connor has improved in that area, so he can sort of take on that responsibility, but he's playing more the eyes-up rugby, playing off the cuff, and seeing if he can take opportunities where they come up. So it depends if Leeds can actually at least get offloads off the back of the carries. Even if Saints can slow them down, can Leeds at least get offloads? Saints are currently lacking in attack at the moment. That's one of their biggest issues, but I think they're slowly improving. They're getting there slightly. They're still, I think, a bit too far off where they want to be, but they are slowly making improvements. Leeds, as I say, were brilliant against Hull Kingston Rovers, and despite the result last time against Saints, I think they're built nicely to beat St Helens with the quality that they have around, and of course the size through the middle. The biggest problem for Leeds last time was that they just kept dropping the ball. They really struggled to complete sets. I think it was as low, well, completion rate was as low as 62%, something like that at one point. It was really, really poor. I don't think they're going to be anywhere near as bad as that. As long as they can at least complete sets at a slightly higher rate, therefore put on more attacking displays, given the quality of their attack this season and how much better it's been in recent weeks, they can do some damage to Saints this time around. Just as long as they're cleaner in possession, they can put on more attacking displays. I reckon Leeds being at home as well, after that win versus KR, the crowd is going to be well up for it. I think Saints forwards and defence will keep them in it for long periods of this game, but I think Leeds are the stronger side overall. They've been more consistent enough in more areas, and in clutch situations, Leeds have really shown up. So I'm going to go with Leeds Rhinos 24, St Helens 18. Next up, we have the Leigh Leopards taking on Hull Kingston Rovers. Both have won 4 in their last 5. Both have also been tested a lot in recent weeks as well. Now, Leigh's attack has been looking really good this year, and in recent weeks has also been improving. There was a slight dip I think they had, but I think they were going through a couple changes at the time, but they've kind of gone past that, so that's good for Leigh. It will be tough to break down this KR defence, but I think Leeds kind of showed I don't know if blueprint's the right word, but they showed what could help, and that is maybe pick a side, launch the ball that way and stick with it. Whether it just be that left side that Leeds went to. Worst case scenario, if you're not creating line breaks and scoring long range tries, which Hull KR make it very, very difficult to do, by the way. Worst case scenario, you just make good meters. I think if Leigh can sort of copy what Leeds did, spread the ball down the left, use Tessie Niu, barge players over, get those extra metres down that left-hand side, you start to help yourselves further up the field and not get pinned back, which KR are really good at doing. With that being said, normally how they pin teams back is they'll go left to Mikey Lewis and chip the ball towards the back left. Mikey Lewis will not be playing this week. But normally, even when Mikey Lewis isn't playing, Hull KR still do really well. I think there's been a couple times, it might have been in 2023 as well. I know there was a couple times in 2024. I think I went against Hull KR in an already close game, but because they were without Mikey Lewis, I think I went the opposite way. In close games already, and they still got the job done. In some cases, they played above what was expected of them, even without Lewis. So I'm actually not that concerned for the Robins this week without Mikey. I think they'll still be fine. Jez Litton's a great option in the halves anyway. And the difference this week is they'll actually have that week to prepare. They can mix things up, change things, or go back to what they know. Whereas against Leeds, they had to switch mid-game, but they've actually got that week to prepare without Mikey Lewis. Both have been carrying the ball really well up front in recent weeks as well. I do think Leigh can compete, but the Robins are usually better at slowing down the ruck and getting offloads as well. But the carries from Liu, Offengawi, Trout, and Niu down that left edge, they're going to be huge. Absolutely massive. I think they can have an impact through the middle, but normally you trust the Robins' ability to reduce the offloads, reduce the post-contact meters, slow down the ruck, and make sure they're not getting quick play the balls and leaving space behind the ruck as well for a quick scoot and an easy 10, 12, 14, 15 meters up the field. This one might be another game where it's got that grand final feel. Leigh just played a game that felt a bit like a grand final. So did Leeds and Hull Kingston Rovers. It could be another one of those. I just think there's enough evidence and enough quality in that KR side to go to Leigh that is going to be rocking again this week and potentially putting a statement win. I'm not thinking it's going to be a massive win where they'll batter them again like the 30-0 that they had, but I think they can put in a strong statement win. But I think Leigh will also prove to themselves again that they can continue to compete with the stronger sides in Super League. So I'm going to go with Leigh Leopards 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 16. Next up, we have the Catalans Dragons taking on the Warrington Wolves. Starting with form, Catalans have only won 1 in their last 5. Warrington have won 3 in their last 5, which includes 2 in a row against Hull FC and a dodgy one against Salford. Now, Catalans have been going through a very rough time in the last few months at this point. Aside from the win against the Giants, I don't know when they'll be able to turn things around. That's a big problem for them. Luckily for Catalans, though, I think they match up fairly nicely for Warrington, especially through the middle. Their forwards are much bigger. They could possibly dominate through the middle. And they do have individuals that, in one-on-one situations, can easily get around Warrington players that do like to miss tackles, unfortunately. And I think the last time that Warrington played Catalans, which was at the Halliwell Jones, it was offloads galore, missed tackles galore. And the fact that Catalans didn't win that game is wild to me. But fortunately for Warrington, I do think they're going to continue to improve offensively with Dufty now back in there as well as Williams. The cohesion will continue to build and hopefully they can get a bit more consistency and feel a bit more comfortable with the combinations that they're trying to build offensively as well. And hopefully Gleeson can get them firing again. Hopefully. I do think they will be able to find some success with a more comfortable spine. With changes in the back line as well, though, it could be tricky. Because now that Roderick Ty is going to be out, at least Jake Thulis has had a bit more time in that lineup. He's been scoring a few, good handful of tries as well. Wrench has been getting more minutes under his belt and will hopefully feel more comfortable. So I think it's a question mark on how comfortable Warrington will feel spreading the ball. But I think there's the potential that it's going to click more and more as time goes on if they can at least get some consistency in the backs. Both sides are very poor in defence. That's another thing as well. So it could end up being quite a high-scoring game. The problem is both sides are also kind of poor offensively as well. So there's a potential it's a very low-scoring game. So maybe somewhere in between. I'm not confident with either side's defence, to be honest. I do think the point scoring potential is slightly higher for Warrington just because of the individual weapons and what we know they're capable of. Catalans have those weapons, but based on evidence over the last few weeks and months, there's been way too many games where Catalans have put up 0 points or not even double digits. And Warrington, although they were poor against Salford, I think all they need to do is just clean up their act. A little bit like what I was saying with Leeds in this time around against Saints. Just clean up the sets a little bit more, complete at a higher rate, build that momentum, and I think they've got more attacking threats that can put up points this week. So I'm going to go with Catalans Dragons 20, Warrington Wolves 26. Finally for this round, we have the Salford Red Devils taking on the Castleford Tigers. Starting with form, Salford have won 0 in their last 5. Cass have only won 1 in their last 5. Not great, but it's still better than Salford. Danny Maguire has now left the Castleford Tigers. Interesting call. Not sure if I agree with it or disagree with it yet. I'll have to think about that one. Either way, it's an interesting call. Salford will hopefully go into this game with a similar lineup to last week. They put out a pretty strong lineup against Saints. Didn't go particularly well, but at least it was consistent or very close or very similar to the week after against Warrington, which had just gone at the weekend. So if they can take that lineup, which just put in a great performance against Warrington, they could come into this with some consistency, a bit more cohesion in attack, a little bit stronger in the defensive line. They're already looking strong on paper if they bring the same squad to this one. So there's the potential that Salford could get the win this week. For Cass, how will they deal with the changes? There's a few ways of looking at this one. One, they could respond this week. They could think, right, we've got a new head coach, which is just Chris Chester, who's already at the club anyway, but there's a potential that he's going to be the head coach next year. So now you've got to impress him, even though he was already the assistant. You're now sort of thinking a bit differently. I need to impress the new coach. So we could see a bit of a step up in some of the effort areas this week from Cass. There's the potential that he maybe wants to change a little bit too much this week, because over time we might see something different in Cass. They wouldn't have got rid of Maguire if they didn't think Chris Chester could or would do things differently, because otherwise you're just asking someone to do the exact same thing as the guy that you just got rid of. So that would be a bit pointless, really. Maybe the new voice, new leading voice in the, on the training pitch and in the changing room is, I don't know, just freshens things up a little bit. Maybe there are some slight ideas that can just improve Cass over the next couple of weeks without changing too much of the makeup. But I do think if Salford take last week's squad into this week with the same quality on paper, Danny Richardson leading the kicking game, they can really compete with a Cass side that is, let's face it, awful defensively, and their attack only shows up in bits here and there and very rarely put in 80-minute performances on a regular basis. And plus, over the last couple of years, Salford vs Cass has thrown up some really interesting games as well. So there's a potential spicy one in this one. I think Salford can get the win in this one. Cass have certainly shown signs that they can break lines, scramble well defensively. I do think, though, Salford are well positioned for an upset, and for those that are going to be at the AJ Bell Stadium, they will be very proud after that performance against Warrington at the weekend and know that there is a chance that they could turn over Castleford. They are so close to that next win, and I think they might just get it this week. So I'm going to go with Salford Red Devils 22, Castleford Tigers 18. So there you have my Super League Round 18 predictions. As always, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Who do you predict to win this week? Let me know. But as always, if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. It does help to get the video out there to more people. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more Kinetic Rugby League content. And if you'd like to become a member, just click the join button below this video and join for as little as £1 per month. But that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.